fight for life takes center stage in America's courts. Welcome to Faith Nation. I'm Tara Mergener.
And I'm John Jessup. A tectonic cultural shift is shaking things up across America. Abortion clinics are closing while pro-life pregnancy centers are expanding, now outpacing places where the procedure is performed 4-to-1.
And with a more conservative Supreme Court, pro-life advocates see a real chance to end abortion in America. CBN's Charlene Aaron reports in tonight's top story.
For 25 years, the National Institute of Family and Life Advocates, or NIFLA, has equipped pregnancy centers to serve women and their communities. Now, after all the time, work, and money, its leaders and supporters are talking about the potential end of legalized abortion in America. The numbers and accomplishments tell the story of how this organization helps women choose life. Some 1,600 U.S. pregnancy centers. The introduction of using ultrasounds to the pro-life movement.
Since we started that, over 1,300 pro-life medical clinics utilizing ultrasound are in existence across the country. And an abortion-minded woman comes in, she's been told it's a blob of tissue, she sees the ultrasound, and bingo, we've seen huge numbers of women choose life because of that.
Alveda King applauds the boots-on-the-ground work.
The pregnancy care centers are the heart of the pro-life movement. And the reason I believe that, they don't just say to a mother who comes to the door and she's pregnant and faced with a decision to birth a child or not, but they speak to the mother, they support the birth of the child, the father is welcome, and the community is welcome. So I'm very fond of NIFLA's work.
NIFLA recently hosted a gathering of pro-lifers as part of its annual Leadership Summit. It comes at a time when many in the movement are more hopeful than ever that the Roe v. Wade decision might be overturned. Mississippi recently asked the U.S. Supreme Court to take another look, arguing that states should be allowed to decide whether to regulate abortion. Now, with a majority of conservative Supreme Court justices, many say the time is ripe. That includes Abby Johnson, a former manager in the abortion industry.
Right now, though, I'm so hopeful. I mean, we've got, I think, almost 4 times the number of pregnancy centers as we have abortion clinics in the United States. Abortion clinics are, closing down year after year. Culture is changing. Young people's minds are changing.
Glessner agrees.
But it just seems like everything's coming together at the right time. We have 6 potential justices on that court who could vote to overturn Roe, and if the court does not vote to actually overturn Roe, if they uphold the Mississippi law, Roe's dead.
That, says King, would be an answer to prayer.
My prayer in the pro-life movement is that people will wake up, that the eyes of the nation and the world will open and realize that life is sacred from the womb to the tomb, and that there are life-affirming solutions that do not require that we kill the youngest, the weakest, and most innocent, the babies in the womb. I pray that we wake up, open our eyes, and choose life.
Meanwhile, if Roe v. Wade is abolished, the issue will move to the states, a fight Glessner says abortion proponents are relishing.
You're going to see a huge hysteria coming from them, and maybe some violence. I think we better be prepared for that, because they will be screaming and hollering how the court has taken away women's rights.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
A new wave of sanctuary cities is sweeping the nation now. These cities declaring themselves sanctuaries for the unborn.
That's right, Tara, all while more local governments ban abortion. But will the movement survive the court challenges? Here's CBN's Heather Sells with more.
Lebanon, Ohio is the latest community to declare itself a sanctuary city for the unborn. There is no abortion clinic here, but city leaders say that's not the point.
Sometimes being an elected official means you step out.
Longtime Mayor Amy Brewer says Lebanon wants to make it clear abortion providers are not welcome.
Without being proactive, something like this could come into our community and we would be unable to stop it.
Of course, not everyone here supports the ordinance. Those who oppose it say it's simply beyond the scope of this small town and that it will harm women who are seeking an abortion.
Abortion bans do not stop abortions. They only stop safe abortions. If you pass this, the number of back alley abortions will go up.
In late May, the city council heard from both sides of the issue for 4 hours, then voted unanimously to pass the ordinance. City leaders say their intent is neither to harm women nor prevent them from getting an abortion outside of Lebanon.
It is specifically written to say the mother that is in this situation needs mercy. There is no penalty for them whatsoever.
Those individuals within our community who share a different perspective than I do still have those same opportunities, those same resources.
That includes a local pregnancy center for women in crisis. City leaders credit a college student, 19-year-old Josh Beckman, with suggesting the ordinance.
God just put it in my mind, sanctuary city for the unborn.
They also credit the president, whose strong abortion support emboldened their pro-life commitment.
President Biden has said that he wants abortion access available in every single zip code of this country. We have our own zip code, and we have a people that we want to be able to protect.
Mike Ganadakis leads Ohio Right to Life and says his phone started ringing off the hook after Lebanon passed its ban.
You're going to start seeing cities, townships, and villages across the state of Ohio passing these. We believe county commissioners will pass these as well.
Outside Ohio, movement leaders say communities in half a dozen states are considering bans as well. The big hope for these pro-life leaders comes in the fall at the Supreme Court. Justices will hear the Dobbs case, which directly challenges Roe v. Wade and Casey v. Planned Parenthood. It contests a Mississippi law forbidding abortions after 15 weeks. Ganadakis says a slew of local abortion bans this summer could send a strong signal to the court.
We can send letters and we can send emails, but if we have our local governments telling them by passing ordinances and laws that we want to end this, the court's going to listen.
Regent University law professor Brad Jacob isn't so sure, saying it's debatable just how important such cultural cues are in the court's decision-making.
I'm not sure that a popular opinion poll is going to sway very many of the justices.
And the reality is Americans are split on abortion. A June Gallup poll found 52% think it should be illegal or legal in only a few circumstances. 45% support it in all or most. Jacob and other scholars say the local abortion bans could pose legal pitfalls, depending on how they're crafted.
The city ordinance might be flat unconstitutional. They could get hauled into federal court.
Another challenge, state politics.
A city or a county is a creature of state law. And ultimately, if the state doesn't like what the city is doing, the state can find a way to stop it.
So far, the bans in these sanctuary cities remain. Most recently, a federal judge in Texas dismissed a Planned Parenthood lawsuit trying to overturn a voter-approved measure in Lubbock. Here in Ohio, the Lebanon mayor is prepared for such a challenge. Her yes vote, she says, has already led to personal threats.
We took a bold move. We took a brave move. And you can do one of two things. You can be an elected official and ride the fence and do nothing. Or you can do what you feel is best and take a stand on something.
For Brewer and other backers of these bans, it's important to take that stand, at least within their own city limits. Reporting in Lebanon, Ohio, Heather Sells, CBN News.
A movement among Democrats how some on the left are leaning into the pro-life message when Faith Nation returns. The pro-life movement is typically associated with conservative Republicans, but according to a 2021 Gallup poll, 47% of Americans consider themselves to be pro-life.
And that includes some in the Democratic Party fighting against abortion. One woman recently launched a new group to do just that and talked about it with Jenna and me not long ago.
It's progressive and anti-abortion. You yourself are a self-avowed atheist. You know, conventional wisdom says those two ideas are somewhat at odds. Is convention wrong, or are you trying to bust through the norm here?
Well, Secular people have always been a part of the pro-life movement. In fact, we hear from Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who is now deceased, who wrote a lot about the early days of the pro-choice, pro-life debate. And he was actually a co-founder of NARAL, who eventually became pro-life as an atheist. But he wrote about how the choice movement specifically tried to suppress the voices of those in the community who were non-religious and who also opposed abortion.
Teresa, any concern that your position is going to be drowned out?
We know that the media is not generally on the side of the pro-life movement, but I am an activist, and it is my job to do whatever I can to bring visibility to this cause, and especially those who consider themselves progressive and feminist and align with the general ideas and values of equality, nonviolence, and non-discrimination who do oppose abortion. So we are going to be there. We're going to make a lot of noise. We are going to do everything we can to make sure that we are heard, and hopefully it will make an impact, and we will see some evidence of that in the media.
You're probably someone who many people find intriguing. Given that you have accused the Democratic Party of silencing pro-life liberals, you say secular people have always been part of the pro-life movement. Teresa, can you tell us a little bit more about your personal story?
Sure. I was raised religious, but I was pretty pro-choice up until the time when I lost my faith, which I know is not the most popular story to hear, but it did make me think about my life in a different way, about what is really right and wrong. And especially, the idea of not having a life after death really motivated me. And the idea that maybe there wasn't divine justice out there, that maybe justice was something that I would have to fight for. So it kind of sent me down a rabbit hole, but it wasn't until I found the group Secular Pro-Life that I felt confident enough saying, okay, yes, no, I am also pro-life. And that's why representation matters so much, which is why I have decided to launch this brand new progressive anti-abortion organization, because I think we see that the problem here is with the Democratic Party, their relationship with the abortion industrial complex. But the only groups that are really able to affect what happens in the Democratic Party are truly progressive ones that force the party to be more progressive. So that is the goal with this organization.
Well, a popular fashion magazine wants the American film and TV industry to normalize abortion storylines in the media, and pro-life advocates are pushing back.
That's right. One woman helping lead the charge is Lila Rose. She says this is just another example that destigmatizes abortions. Mark Martin spoke with her about it and brings us this story.
A recent article in the fashion magazine Marie Claire complains that film and TV abortion storylines almost always revolve around single teens, and the mag wants Hollywood to show more parents in those roles. Lila Rose, president of Live Action, calls that position horrific.
It's a real tragedy to see Marie Claire now saying it's not enough. We need to promote more abortion, even to the point where now we need to see parents who already have born children considering an abortion. And that's what this article is about. It's saying having teen girls have abortions isn't enough to destigmatize this atrocious act. We need to also be promoting parents in film who already have other children.
Rose doesn't believe Marie Claire's stance is isolated by any means. She says most mainstream news outlets, television networks, and even big tech companies share the same beliefs.
So it just shows the huge disconnect between elites in this country and everyday Americans who see the humanity of the preborn child and refuse to buy the lie that abortion is empowering.
The 1973 Supreme Court ruling legalizing abortion remains the primary focus on both sides of the fierce debate.
What is found in the Constitution is the 14th Amendment, which states that no state has the right to deprive the life of any person and that everybody deserves equal treatment under the law. That should extend to all human beings, including children in the womb.
Ultimately, Lila, do you think Roe v. Wade will be overturned?
I think that if we are just and have any intellectual courage and honesty, Roe v. Wade's days are absolutely numbered. It's hard. It's hard for the Supreme Court to say that we were wrong. I mean, that's only happened a small handful of times in our history, but it has happened before. Dred Scott other cases that have been in the trash heap of history, because we finally see that this was wrong. We treated human beings as non-persons, and there's no constitutional justification for that.
Rose is passionate about advocating for the unborn, and she's written a book entitled Fighting for Life, Becoming a Force for Change in a Wounded World.
I started my organization at 15. I wish I had had a manual for how to start growing the pro-life movement and finding my mission and calling. And so Fighting for Life is that manual that I wish I had for how we can be a force for good in this world today that so desperately needs people to stand up.
And she says her Christian faith, which she calls the ultimate pro-life story, is behind her mission to make a difference.
I think our faith shows us the sacredness of every human life. Jesus Christ came into the world as an embryo, as an unborn child, and he showed in his weakness and his meekness the beauty and the gift of life, even at an inconvenient or an uncertain time.
Mark Martin, CBN News.
Thank you, Mark. Coming up, a mission to save lives. We visit the medical clinic with a 5-year plan to serve 100,000 women and save 10,000 babies.
Welcome back. As the future of abortion continues to play out in the courts, pro-life groups are actively working to offer women alternatives to the procedure.
That's right, Tara. And as CBN's Jennifer Wishon reports, Christian clinics are providing help and hope, all with the goal of saving lives.
9:30 in San Antonio, and it's already hot.
In order to appreciate the power of Christ,
these women are getting ready for their day.
Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Our sin caused a rift between us and him. So great is the holiness of our God.
They worship and praise.
We finished abortion recovery with Angela, and she's healed.
Preparing them for a calendar full of chances to save lives.
Well, let's get after it.
They give the day to God.
We pray, oh God, that she will keep her divine appointment at 1, that she would see that this is a child and not a product of conception, and that she will give this child life. Father, we pray for life for this child. Amen. Amen.
It's a daily ritual here at Life Choices Medical Clinic, a place where these professionals never know what needs they'll be asked to meet.
Sometimes it's practical, sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's emotional.
It's kind of diaper central. It was intended to be our education room.
When Charity Farrar started at the clinic nearly 10 years ago, she says it was great at handing out diapers.
From the front door, they come up this hall, and this is the staging area.
But when they started offering medical services to women and eventually men, their influence multiplied.
This room here is our ultrasound room. I love this room. It's my favorite room probably in the whole building. God does amazing things in this room.
Here at Life Choices Medical Clinic, women can get a pregnancy test, get a free ultrasound to see pictures of their baby, get prenatal care and counseling, all within a few steps down this hallway.
Our goal really as the clinic is to make sure that they know they're fully supported throughout their pregnancy.
That's sometimes a big help if they're choosing between life and termination. Knowing that they have that continuity of care gives them a secure feeling.
They even offer testing and treatment for sexually transmitted diseases.
If they're here for STI testing and treatment, then we talk to them about that. And what are their risks and the exposure that they have, and what can we do to prevent that? And, oh, by the way, what does God say about all of this?
Ellen Leone has honed her skill of discernment. This afternoon, she gets the chance to show that abortion-minded mom pictures of her baby.
It's really just letting God take over in the moment, too, because, you know, he's active in the room, and just seeing the Holy Spirit move their hearts is just it's a blessing to see.
This clinic and hundreds of others across the country are proving critics wrong, who say pro-life activists stop caring about women after they choose life for their babies. Life Choices supports some moms until their children reach kindergarten. And last year, the clinic witnessed nearly 120.
Oh, these are brown and blue.
Professions of faith.
We love it when our patients ask us if they can have a Bible. Our #1 mission is to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. Everything else is secondary to presenting the gospel. My personal philosophy is that if we save the mother eternally, we save that baby because the mom has a change of heart.
It's wonderful being in that we have the freedom to share our faith. It's not by any means coercive or anything that we do there, but where we can live like human to human and really connect with patients.
And now Farrar wants to take this hopeful model across Texas. Working with 4 other organizations, Life Choices aims to serve 100,000 women and save 10,000 babies in just 5 years.
Abortion started in Texas. We want to end it in Texas. Abortion is an atrocity. Abortion is not health care. It's not health care for the mother and certainly not health care for the child. But life, Jesus came that we might have life and have life abundantly. That starts now.
So what about that abortion-minded mom Farrar and her staff prayed for? After her appointment, she decided to keep her baby. Folks at this clinic have learned the more contact they have with a woman, the more likely she is to keep her baby, and the better equipped she is for motherhood. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, San Antonio.
And details on the next abortion-related case to be heard by the Supreme Court. Next. Finally, tonight, a reminder, the Supreme Court will hear a case many consider a direct challenge to Roe v. Wade.
The case is called Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health. It is a challenge to a Mississippi law banning most abortions, after 15 weeks. The case will be heard next Wednesday, December 1st. For in-depth coverage of the arguments before the court and analysis afterwards, make sure you join us right here on Faith Nation. This, Tara, is seen as quite a consequential case.
Absolutely, all eyes on that one. Well, that is going to do it for Faith Nation. Thank you so much for joining us.
We hope to see you right back here next time.